Good morning. Today, I'm not quite sure where it's going to go, but I want to speak about beingness. Because to me, beingness is really where our magic happens. It's where our magic is released. It's where we open to our truth. And once we open to it, we naturally express it. We cannot experience anything that we are not first. We must know that we are more than these meat suits. We must know that we are the God, the Creator, the consciousness, the pure positive energy behind the body, through the body, and the canvas behind all of our existence. And until we take the time to connect, and by time I don't mean lots of time, I don't even mean minutes, because once you get familiar with your beingness, it's instant. It can be as quick as a single thought, because a thought does initiate everything. Beingness is that place of present now. And in the present now, there is no thought. There is no labeling. There is no judgment, blame. There's just pure awareness. And that awareness, of me being, has a feeling to it. It has a sensation, not an emotion, but a sensation. So when I say there's no thought, there is deeper thought. There's no surface level thought. There's no real The difference is the focus is on the inside and not on the outside. The focus isn't about what I'm about to do or whether whatever you're looking at is good or bad, or what even you're looking at. It's an attention and awareness of pure life. And when you step into that moment, the feeling is really palpable, it's tangible. And as you stay there a little bit longer, because where our focus goes, our attention goes, energy flows. As we turn our awareness on our beingness, the energy expands. because what we've literally done is thrown open the door. You know, imagine yourself as a conduit, like a garden hose. And as we look at the outside world and we go into reaction and we label it good or bad, and we have thoughts about it, we have labels. It's like we are clogging up that hose. We're taking in these little pieces of grit, of pebbles, of mud, which constrict the flow through the hose. And when we can let go of all of that human conditioning, even just in the moment, it's absolutely delicious. That's our truth. That's who we are. That is our God self. That is what is animating this body right now. That is what is speaking through me, giving me the experience of being this body and living in this world. Everything is pure life. Now, in saying that, we came here to be human. But we came here to be human beings, then doings. I don't know who called us human beings, but what an appropriate name. And somewhere along the history of humans, we've forgotten our beingness. When we be, it's like we become that still pond. And what they say, you know, still water runs deep. We've got no idea of our own magnitude, of our own power, of our own glory. But when we're in beingness, we are like a still pond. And when we drop a desire into this still pond, we are returning this desire back to the source of it. All of our desires come from our true self. When we want something in the outside world, it's our true self saying, go get it. Like, it gives us the feeling so that we will advance ourselves towards that thing. And in the process of claiming that thing, we become more of ourself. And as we drop that single desire, that pebble back into the still pond, the ripples go wide. And they're beautiful ripples. You know, if you've ever dropped a pebble into still water, you will know what I mean. It's magnificent. That is the ripples of the energy of our desire going out into all corners of creation to bring it back to us. When we want something, when we desire something, we first have to remember that all things already are. Nothing, excuse me, nothing is created or destroyed. Nothing is created or destroyed. all things exist right now in your consciousness. Only we haven't shone the light on it yet. We haven't seen it. Beingness is how we receive. We've gone through lots of exercises over the last 13 weeks. Today is week 14. Can you believe that? And I started this conversation 14 weeks ago with goal setting. Now, goal setting is the start of everything, because that sitting and pondering what we really want, getting clear on our desire, is what creates the clarity and the alignment to what we desire. When we visit our desire every single day, not because we need to replace the order, but because when we revisit it, we are installing it into our own consciousness, into our own beingness. And when we install it into our beingness, we feel it. And that is proof that it is part of who we are. And as we feel, that feeling is telling us that we are on a certain frequency, and that is the frequency we are broadcasting. And what we put out comes back to us equally, on the same frequency and to the same degree. So the stronger we can feel our desire, knowing that it already exists because nothing is created or destroyed, the sooner we see it and experience it in the physical world. It's important to remember that our physical world is us. It is the canvas behind all appearances. Remembering that this body is part of the outside world. It's not me. Sure, I'm driving it. I'm also driving my outside world. My outside world, including every single person that I meet with, is part of my own beingness pushed out. So if my whole world is emanating from me, from my core frequency, everything I experience is my core frequency. It makes sense that when we can become what we desire to see in the outside world, it must make its appearance. And remembering that nothing is created or destroyed, everything, every single possibility exists right now. Some as possibilities and some as probabilities, and the difference being everything is available, but some things are more probable because of the frequency that we're in right now. But we have free will to think. And when we have free will to think, we have free will to create. Only we can't exercise this free will until we're aware. the more that we can be human beings and live in the present now, when we can bring our full awareness to whatever we're doing, we're inviting our whole self to it. When I read a book, I can't read, it quickly. I am somebody who will read a page, maybe I read a few lines, and I contemplate, and I let it in or I don't, depending on whether it resonates with where I am in the moment. When we bring our whole self to whatever we do, to all we do, to the moment, we are magnetic. And whatever we desire in the moment from presence is a done deal. I love to play with presents. It's a real gift. It's a present to each of us. And most of us are so busy running around, scrambling in our outside world, fighting over the morsels of what we see in the physical, forgetting that we are creators. We become like the seagull after that hot chip. We pounce, afraid we're going to miss out. And I'm not saying there isn't a time and a place to pounce. There definitely is. When our heart sings, when we get that burning desire, it's the time to go for it, to go all in. And whenever we step into fear, it's a sure indication that we've stepped out of beingness. That we've detoured down a thought path that is not our truth. In one of the earlier sessions that I offered, we were talking about the wish fulfilled. And all wishes are already fulfilled. We've got to know that. When we look at the outside world, we see less of 1% of what's actually there. Less than 1% of what is actually right in front of us. Sure, our physical senses know it's there. And yet our brain rules it out. Our brain says, no, that doesn't fit with what you expect. That doesn't fit with your conditioning. There is everything we desire right here for our taking. But we've got to become it. Remembering that our outside world is us being emanated outwards. So how do you become what you want? How do you become the new car? How do you become the new house? How do you become the money? remembering everything is all energy. If you had that new car, if you had that new house, if you had that new dress, if you had the money, how would you feel? If you were in that beautiful relationship, how would you feel? How would you dress? How would you stand? How would you react, respond to the outside world? Because remember, we are the starting point. If we are claiming we're in a beautiful relationship with somebody who adores us, we can't go out into the world and tell our friend how lonely we are, because that isn't owning the fact that we have a beautiful relationship. If we've got something going on with our health, we cannot own that condition and be healthy. Our thinking has to align with our new or desired beingness. And when I say new or desired, it's all inside of us. I remember meeting Anita Moorjani before her first book was actually released. She was brought to a Hay House event, and I was going to say lucky enough, but you know what? I manifested that. I made the intention I was going to meet Wayne Dyer and Anita Moorjani in person. And as we went through the seminar where she was just releasing her new book, she did a book signing, but there was thousands of people there, and you can imagine the length of the line. And I said, no, it's got to be easy. Anyway, it got to the end of the event. It went late, like 2 hours past its end date. We were just so enjoying it, you know, and it was all over. And I thought, okay, well, it wasn't meant to be. I was there with a friend. We went out and got some dinner. It was quite late in the evening. We came out after eating dinner, and here is Wayne Dyer and Anita Moorjani on the footpath with a couple of the people from the Hay House team waiting for their cab to arrive. And I got to, you know, speak with them both, give them both a hug. And it was just the four of them there and me and my friend. And it was so absolutely beautiful. But I've digressed. Anita Moorjani spoke about her experience before she had her miraculous healing. I don't know if you know her story. She had lymphoma. She had cancer. She'd been struggling it for, I think it was close to 10 years. And her body had closed down. She'd gone into a natural coma. She had tumours the size of lemons right through all of her organs, you know, multiple tumours. And the doctor said to her when she was taken to the hospital, you know, this is the last moments, you know, make your peace with her, say your goodbyes. She's not going to make it through the night. And Anita experienced in her coma listening to not only the people by her bedside, her family who were saying goodbye, but the doctor talking to her husband down the hall. She also knew that her brother was on a flight across the world to come and see her before she died. And she was in that plane sitting beside him, talking to him. She also connected with her father, who had died several years earlier, and had a chat with him, and he told her that it wasn't her time. And she said, yeah, but Dad, I am so tired. I can't go back and live in all this pain and this illness any longer. and she knew that the words she was being given weren't necessarily coming from her father, but they were giving her a choice whether to come back or not. And she was told if she came back, she would be healthy. And she said her experience, what she was shown from the other side, or from this in between, from across the veil, and it all exists right here, right now. It's just our physical brain doesn't give us access to it because of our expectation, at least for most people. Some people can see through the veil, some people hear. But she was shown that existence, even here on earth, is like a great big warehouse. And this warehouse has no beginning and no end, and absolutely everything exists in there, ready for our taking. The only thing is, from the human perspective, we're in this warehouse, which isn't just, a town block. It never ends. You could walk forever and never come to the end of it. But we're in this great big warehouse with a flashlight. It's big and it's dark. And we've got a flashlight and we think our world is what we can see. And we shine the flashlight around and we see our world and we think that's all there is. Right beside that empty wallet, there's more money than we can count. Right beside that loved one that just passed is our loved one standing there or wrapping their arms around us, and most of us cannot see it. Right inside the body that we think is broken is a full, healthy body in full vitality. But because we have this belief about what is going on with our body, we cannot access the health. I have had enough experiences beyond this physical world, delicious experiences, to know who I am. To know that what I say is true. I am sharing from my heart, from my truth, from full integrity. I try to always live in this integrity, in this moment of now. I'm human and sometimes I fall off. I go into reaction. But I'm forever reminded when that happens and I come back, we live in a world that is so far beyond what we believe it is, in an existence beyond what we believe it is, because we are so far beyond what we know ourselves to be. And many of us will say, yes, I know that. And I used to be one of those people. Oh, yes, I know that. And I did know it in here. I'd read lots. I'd been to lots of seminars. I'd studied lots. Of course I knew it. But I wasn't living it. And that's the difference. When we put it into action, when we apply these understandings, they get in. They get into our consciousness and they're expressed through our beingness to show us how magnificent we are. And as we step through fear, as we step through limitation, because that is all bogus, we start to show up as who we are. We start to express our truth. We start to let go of the fear of needing to stay small and stay quiet and stay in our own corner. Because after all, the whole world is me anyway. Why would I hide from me? It's all an illusion. And as you find the courage to start breaking out, you start saying yes to your desires. You start doing what it takes to bring these desires into beingness. And there is action needed. You know, we're in a physical world so that we do as well as be. But when we do just for the sake of doing sake, we have to rely on physical force. When we do from beingness, we're relying on our innate power. We're attracting. And that's where the magic happens. I believe my purpose and the purpose of every single one of us is the same. And that purpose is expression of ourself. And as we follow each desire, we become more of ourself. We become more whole. And it's only through that wholeness can we experience who we really are. So each desire we say yes to, the more of ourself we become, the more we radiate, because we're opening up that hose. You know, instead of a little garden hose that is clogged with all sorts of random pieces of belief that are bogus at best, we open up, you know, to a large garden hose, to a fire hose, to a 6-inch pipe, to a 2-meter pipe, to a unlimited flow, unrestricted flow. And that's when truly everything becomes ours. Whenever we're looking at the outside world and saying, no, that's not mine, that belongs to so-and-so. Whenever we're looking at the outside world and saying, no, I could never do that. Whenever we're looking at the outside world and saying, that's too big, I couldn't have that, I'm not good enough, we'll never have it, because our belief creates our life. And we've just minimized ourselves. Because even though that is in our world and it must belong to us, we haven't claimed it as our own. Dare to follow your heart. Dare to dream big. Dare to be all that you can be. Dare to go after your dreams and your goals. It breaks my heart to see so many people struggling when everything they desire is right there waiting for them. I would love to be teaching you one-on-one what I get to experience and how you could change your life. Alternately, I would love for you to be joining me as a partner alongside of me in my business. My business stretched me into who I've become today. My business gave me the opportunity to invest in a really, really big way last year, 12 months ago, into me. I invested more in me last year than what I've ever earned in a lifetime in a job for more than 12 months. And I couldn't have done that without my business. It's time for us all to stretch. And whether that is, taking on a mentor, stepping in to something, whether that be with me, if you're in alignment with me or somebody else, and stretching yourself, making yourself accountable, doing the work, someone to bounce ideas off, to get clarity, to work through your fears and your problems, to offer solutions, and to become all you can be. I think it's worth it. When you really step into your truth, there is no limits. Anyone interested in becoming more of themselves, I would love to hear from you. Message me and let's have a chat. Let's see how I can help you, if I can help you. The world truly is a friendly place, and it's here for you to discover yourself and to be fully expressed. We came here to express our frequencies, to express our truth. And while ever we hold back, we are holding back on what we could be living. We are holding back on the gloriousness, the deliciousness of our truth. Big love to you all. I'll see you again next week.